Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidate interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Joy Cardine, and I would like to introduce Blake Alvarenga, running for Alder in District 12. As we begin, I would like to have you give an opening statement. Tell us about the educational, vocational, and civic experience that you have, which qualifies you for this office, and why you're running for Alder.
Yeah, so I'm running for Alder because, first of all, I love Madison. I was born here. I chose to move back after college, and I've lived here for the past 7+ years. I've been living in my district for about 6 months and next to it for the last 5. I'm very excited to run for Alder to leverage the experience I've gained post-college. Currently, I'm working in project management. It's given me a lot of experience working with different areas across teams and expertise, and bringing those strengths together toward a shared goal. And I think I can leverage that for the city of Madison by working through committees with my fellow alders and with city departments to improve the city I love.
What actions or programs would you support to enhance public safety in Madison? And in particular, what is your position on the use of body cameras by Madison police officers?
Well, I think the number one thing we can do is work with city planners regarding how we're managing traffic. The most dangerous thing outside of public health crises like the drug crisis and opioid abuse is going to be traffic. So we need to look at not only car-on-car collisions, but also vehicle pedestrian accidents. We need to be very careful with our planning as we take into account that as Madison moves into the future, we need to account for people who get around Madison by bus, on foot, by bike, or mobility device. And then as far as body cams go, talking to the people of my district here on the east and north side of Madison, from the Yahara to the airport to Warner Park, people want more accountability, right? They want body cameras, and I have talked with local leaders, and they do look forward to the pilot program on the north side with the body cameras. I would support them because that's what the people of my district want.
What do you see as the most important environmental issues the city needs to address, and what will be your priorities for council action on these issues?
So this is regarding the environment, correct?
Yes.
And when we look at the environment, it's always holistic, right? It's very rare that it's a single bad actor, right? We've got historical trends, whether it was construction in the early 20th century that led to things like asbestos, contaminated soil that when disturbed contaminates our surface and groundwater. And then we have the modern things that we're worried about, microplastics, forever chemicals like PFAS. We'll need to strive to work with the university, the DNR, and the county to address these, especially when it comes to our well water near the airport.
What's your position on increasing pay for alders?
I'm all for it. We need to make sure that being an alder isn't just for people who can afford the privilege to, right? Alders are representative of the people of Madison. Currently, alders are expected to fit in their duty to the people of their district around their professional lives, because being an alder does not pay the bills, right? When we look at affordable housing here in Madison, the alder's salary would not qualify even at the lowest end of affordable housing at market rates. So I'm for raising the amount that alders make. I think there are compromises to be made, possibly reducing the amount of alders by increasing the pay. I would expect that we could also increase the amount of time that alders can dedicate to their district. And as long as we can be representative of the people of those districts, I could see us reducing the amount of districts.
What, if anything, do you think the city should be doing to support economic development?
Well, economic development is important. It's one of the big drivers for the future of Madison, right? If we suffer economic downturn or we don't cultivate economic development, we're doing a disservice to the people of Madison who need jobs, who need their community to be continue to be developed. When we talk about cleaning up the environment, one of the ways we're going to clean up contaminated soil is by bringing in developers, having them purchase old construction, doing environmental studies, finding out what's contaminated, and then having these developers clean up the soil as they turn something in disuse into an economic driver that's going to bring jobs. So we can clean up the environment, we can bring jobs and money and wealth to Madison to improve everybody's life.
How do you see racial disparities impacting constituents in your district? And are there any actions the city should take to address those disparities?
Yes, there are economic disparities, right? We have people that can own a home, but they feel like there's a lot of stress with home ownership, right? Especially people who bought their home 20 plus years ago. They feel like if anything was to happen to their home, they wouldn't be able to afford outside of the market, which is how people who don't own homes feel. They feel that that wealth has not been distributed equally, right? These are families that have lived in Madison for 2, 3, 4, 5 generations. However, they've been delegated to being renters, and renters don't generate intergenerational wealth through their lack of house ownership. So not only is affordable housing important, affordable home ownership is also important. People should be able to build equity and that economic resilience through the hard times, even when it faces all of America. Someone who has 10 years of equity in a house can survive a few bad months. Someone who has been a great renter for 10 years may not have the savings when it comes to the tough times.
What are the most critical issues that you see facing your district, and what would you propose to address those issues?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What are the most critical issues that you see facing the people in your district, and what would you propose to address them?
Sure. So it's definitely inequality, to follow up from the previous question. So when we talk about, affordable house ownership and home ownership, I apologize, affordable housing and affordable home ownership, it's very systemic, right? It goes through the basic needs, right? Are we making sure people are fed? Do they have shelter, right? Once we enable them to have, a place to live, we need to be able to make sure they can move around the city, right? Public transportation needs to be equitable. We need to service and make sure that buses, bike lanes are available in areas of the city that aren't traditionally considered as, pedestrian or bike commuter neighborhoods. I hear it from families when I knock on doors. They're like, yeah, it'd be really nice to move to another part of Madison where we could live on a bus line and have a bike lane. But those parts of Madison are more expensive. We need to make sure that this access is available to people who have, lived in Madison for generations and have not gotten the same opportunities as people living in historic districts.
And finally, what would you like to say to our viewers as we complete this interview?
I promise to be transparent. I will make sure to update the city blog. I'll make sure to answer your questions. And I'll be very clear why I'm voting for things. I'm not looking to take big money donations. I want to serve you, the people, and I look forward to working with the people of Madison throughout my aldership if I'm elected. And I want to say I really appreciate all the people in Madison that have taken the time to talk to me, not only local leaders, but the families that live in District 12.
I want to thank Blake Alvarenga for speaking with us, and thank you to our viewers for taking the time to know your candidates. A reminder that the primary election day is Tuesday, February 21st, and the general election is Tuesday, April 4th. As with every election, please vote. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, thank you for joining us.